Recording in progress. Shall we start? Shut up. All right, so good evening guys, how are you? Yes, so you both are now regulars, right? Great. So let's start with the news. 5 news again. First is about Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. So there's nothing much detail in this news, but importance of this Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. What is this board, what all its functions, what functions does it include, and what functions it does not include is very important. For example, if I ask you a question, if you talk about the regulation of crude oil, will crude oil be regulated by this organization? Right? Yes or no? Yes, it does not regulate crude oil. So that is the importance that we have to see in this. The news is not much. There is GAIL. What is GAIL? The Gas Authority of India Limited has basically criticized this body for certain recommendations that it has given. It has constituted a committee to give recommendations on increase in the use of domestic gas, etc. But that has been criticized by GAIL. That is why it is in news. So we will see its functions, etc. Second thing is SEBI. SEBI flagging the digital gold as a risk, right? So I have taken this so that you stop investments in digital gold. So we'll understand what is the difference between digital gold. If we don't invest in digital gold, which all other instruments can we invest in? The idea is simply, SEBI is saying that digital gold is not regulated by me. So if you don't get your money back or your gold back, do not come to me crying. What is regulated by me is XYZ thing. The gold traded funds and other things is what we will look at. Next is the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001. So the 25-year celebration is going on with respect to this act. So it's going to be about 25 years. That is why it is in news. So this is actually a very good act. If we know about the intellectual property rights, so that kind of things are included in it. But for intellectual property rights, you want to create, you will be creating a patent. For patent, you require research and development, all those infrastructure and resources you need. But at the same time, the farmers, we have huge number of farmers, around 46% of the population is into farming, right? Now the farmers themselves innovate a lot. They themselves do crossbreeding a lot. So what can happen is they can also come up with new varieties of seeds and consequently new varieties of plants. So when they come up with such new varieties, they can also get themselves or get their seeds and the other new varieties registered under this particular act, which is going to give them rights that are on the similar lines as that of the intellectual property rights. And this act is in sync with the TRIPS provision that is there in WTO, right? The trade related intellectual property rights which is there in WTO. So this act is in sync with that. It is going to complete its 25 years. That is why it is in news. Next is the Gati Shakti Transport Planning and Research Organization, the GTPRO. This is a proposed body. So the government is proposing this body to implement the Gati Shakti plan, to implement the projects under the Gati Shakti plan. Now why is that the case? What is the need? The need is because presently the Gati Shakti national plan that is there, it is first of all scattered. It is not unified. There are delays in the projects, their implementation. There is cost overrun. There is time overrun. Time overrun itself nothing but leads to ultimately cost overrun. So all those issues are going on. So why it is going on? Because this Gati Shakti portal that is coming up, it did not start as a visionary portal. It started with a portal wherein the government decided, all right, all the infrastructure projects that are there, we will keep on adding those projects on this portal. So the visionary approach was not there. As a result of which scattering and bifurcation or fragmentation of the project management has taken place. So now the government wants to defragment this particular thing and unify it, bring a single authority with a vision of Viksit Bharat of 2047. So with this vision, up to 2047, having this vision in mind, they will come up with a centralized authority which will be unified and which is going to track everything that is happening under this plan. The last is the country of origin disclosure for e-commerce product. The country of origin disclosure for e-commerce product. Now, why is there a need for that? There's no as such thing that it is in retaliation to something, but the idea is the customer should know which thing is coming from what. So for example, in all of us there is nationalism. In some of us the nationalism is even more to the extreme that we would try to boycott everything that is of the foreign origin, right? Whether that makes sense or not, that's a different thing, but yes, people do it. But for that, what is Indian or what is not, that also we have to know, right? If I ask you the brand Bata, so is Bata an Indian brand or not? What about Peter England? Is Peter England an Indian brand or not? Peter England is an Indian brand, right? So that understanding and awareness we have to have as consumers. So to have that understanding, they are coming up with country of origin disclosure. So the disclosure will be mandatory for these products to write on their the packaging or the outer box, etc., as to what is the origin country. Now origin also can differ. Why it can differ? Is it wholly made in one country? Then what you write? Substantially the value addition in one country, then what you write? So based on that, on the pack you will be mentioned that, let's say it is wholly coming from, let's say, India, or it is substantially coming from India, or it is wholly coming from China, it is substantially coming from China. So you can compare the products, that you have these two products, one says wholly coming from India, one says substantially coming from China, one says substantially coming from India, wholly coming from China. So you will be a better judge of what product to use. So our nationalism can actually be leveraged for us to give more preference to one product over the other. Is that clear? Now remember, there is a concept in WTO, we did that concept, the national treatment. The national treatment concept. So there can be issues raised by a country like China that this is going against the national treatment, but it probably may not go against the national treatment, because the government is not explicitly saying don't use this product, use this product. The government is just making the customer more aware as to which product has come from where. So that debate may arise, but it is in its very initial stage. Is that clear? So the topics are clear. Let's start with the very first one, that is Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. So as I said, the chairman of GAIL has expressed dissent over the recommendations that the PNGRB expert committee has given. Okay. Now what is this recommendation all about? That committee was supposed to give recommendation about exploring ways to boost the domestic gas usage. So how to boost the domestic gas usage? If you want to boost one particular commodity's usage, you have to facilitate the consumers to use it, right? So you have on one hand import, and on one hand it is domestic. Now you will be talking about reduce the prices of the domestic gas in order to attract the people to use it more. But this at times is not taken well. For example, in steel industry. In steel industry, there was, what happens is every year the prices get revised. So these industries that we look at, the steel prices go up. So the steel industry will have its own union or the conglomerates. So all these big industrial manufacturers, JSW, RINL, SAIL, Tata Steel, they will have a meeting and decide as to how much increase in prices should we make. And year on year they would either decide to increase the price or keep it the same, maybe reduce it. But these industries, including the steel industries, are now dealing at a stagnant stage is where they are. So at this moment of point, the steel industries cannot afford to increase the price. In the same manner, the gas industry also cannot afford to lower the price, because that will not suit their production and their transportation and all the costs that they are bearing. So the recommendations on these lines to increase the gas import is not well taken by the Indian gas industry as such. That is why it has been criticized. Okay. So major discussion of us is not based on that, but the major thing about that is based on your prelims exam. We should know what this body is all about. So it is Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. So it is of course a regulatory body. It has been established under the PNGRB Act in 2006, as a result of which we know that it is a statutory body. Also, it has functions which are similar to a tribunal, a court-like functions also it has. That is why it is a quasi-judicial body, right? What other bodies are quasi-judicial? You have SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India, National Green Tribunal, NGT. The tribunals, all the tribunals that are there, they are quasi-judicial. Okay? Central Administrative Tribunal, the tribunal for the civil services, right? Then you have Competition Commission of India is also quasi-judicial. Central Information Commission and SEBI. Now, what is that thing which they do which makes them quasi-judicial? Ji? Ha, so, okay, very good, yes. Okay, so if I say police system we have, so is police a quasi-judicial body? Rights over? Okay. No, I'm not talking about this body. I'm talking about police as a system. You have a police system in the country. So is police system a quasi-judicial body? Huh? Why not? They cannot see what does the judiciary do? Judiciary passes judgments, right? So when judiciary passes a judgment, that judgment has to be binding. It has to be followed. It has to be implemented. Unless and until you are appealing, then after an appeal, again a judgment will be passed. The maximum you can reach is a Supreme Court. So if in a civil court, if in a munsif, etc., if the judgment is passed and no one is appealing, that judgment is binding. There is no other way about it. So that is why they are judicial in nature. That means they pass the decisions. These bodies recommend. So it is similar to passing a decision, but they are not actually passing a decision, they are recommending. Since they are recommending, they act as quasi-judicial, means half judiciary. Quasi means half, so they are like half judicial in nature. So their recommendations are not going to be binding, but generally as a day-to-day practice, the government moves ahead with their recommendation. So when the Central Administrative Tribunal talks about suspending a civil servant, the government is more likely to go ahead with this decision. However, the government is not bound to go with that decision. They can change it, but if you look at day-to-day basis, if 100 decisions are made, 90 plus decisions are followed suit in the manner that they were passed. So it is having an impact of a decision making itself, right? So whenever you have any body that recommends as such from time to time, that will have a quasi-judicial nature to it. Okay? So anyway, they will do it. Here also what cases? The cases of civil servants will be held and then a decision will be taken. And also remember, the recommendation is based on the conflict that is taking place, right? The recommendation is not that what should be the policy going forward. The recommendation is based on the conflict. So if there is a conflict that someone, a company says that I have done insider trading, I say that I have not done insider trading. So SEBI is the one who is going to decide whether I have done insider trading or not and recommend whether my account should be freeze or what has to be done. So they are going to recommend in cases of conflict. Civil services, any issues of ethics, etc., you will be allowed to give your representation, but then this body is going to take decision. National Green Tribunal is going to take decision with respect to environment and environmental issues. Competition Commission, if Reliance Jio is giving your used SIM card and services for free for 1 year, the other telecom companies can file a case and say that this is unfair trade practice. Then the Competition Commission of India will decide whether it is unfair or not. But of course, that need not necessarily be binding. Okay? What is the objective? To protect the consumer interest. These are very generic objectives. Protect the consumer interest. This is important. Regulate what? Transportation, storage, marketing, distribution, everything of the petroleum related thing is regulated by them. ठीक है, marketing, storage, advertising, etc. is regulated by them. This will be shared with you, I think, so you can just look at the process of this supply chain. In fact, more important process is this. This you can take into consideration. So what they do is how the crude oil is converted into different energy products. It is done through fractional distillation. Fractional distillation. Fractional distillation means what? Yes. So because they have different boiling point, different melting point, different evaporating point, you take advantages of different temperature points. Fractional means small differences will be there in these different temperatures. So at different temperatures, different thing is going to come out. So here you have petrol coming out at 150 degrees Celsius, 200 degrees Celsius, kerosene, diesel and fuel. Remembering this exactly is not required, but at least if you can remember the sequence, that will be better. Of course, butane and propane are gases. Of course, they will come out at a lesser temperature. Okay. At the end, they have given here, but you can add over here. At the bottom, you will have the bitumen, damer, bitumen, using which the roads are also constructed. So that is the bitumen which comes out at the end. It's a sludge which is a output over here. This is just lab representation, but this is a better representation because in lab you just have one outlet, whereas here in this particular furnace you will have different outlets, right, wherein they will be coming out. Okay. Dispute resolution mechanism. Any dispute of this goes to its own appellate tribunal, which was again established under the Electricity Act. Tribunal established under section 110 of the Electricity Act. This fact is important. This fact is important because its appellate tribunal is not in sync with the act in which it is formed. So it can be confusing. That is why I have specifically added this. Remember that. Okay. Clear? Any questions? It was a very factual news, so just focus on the facts over there. Okay. And as I have said, crude oil is not what it will regulate. Okay. Next, SEBI. So SEBI has flagged digital gold risk. So what is happening now is, you can buy gold worth 10 rupees also. So on phone pay and all, every time I go to pay, they advertise buy gold of 10 rupees. What is that? That is digital gold. Digital gold is, see, they are not buying any gold from in reality and storing in a vault and then they will give it to you when you ask for it. There's no guarantee of that. SEBI is saying that I am not the one who's regulating. Why is SEBI worried? SEBI is worried because these firms are advertising it a lot, are infusing their digital gold a lot. Every single time on the home page there is an advertisement of digital gold. They are marketing it aggressively, publicizing it aggressively, and people have started investing in it aggressively. As a result of which a bubble is being created, which SEBI says can burst because there is no guarantee that they will give you the gold or not. And there is also a logical backing for that. The logical backing is, first of all, there is no physical gold involved. Since if there would have been, let's say, physical gold involved, you have invested 10 lakh rupees, 10 lakh worth of gold physical, I have bought and kept it, and I have taken some fees from you. Now, when you want the money back, I have that gold. So if the gold is having an increase of 324% in last 8 years, I will not frown. Okay, from where should I give you the money? I can easily give you. Why? Because I have the physical gold which has actually led to such an increase, right? But here what will happen? There is no physical gold. I take 10 lakh rupees of yours as an investment. I don't buy the gold. The money is with me. Now, where do I invest it? If I invest it in any market, let's say I get 10% return, 20% return, 30% return. Now, the gold prices can go up by a considerably higher amount. Then what? So, after 8, I'm giving a reference to the sovereign gold bond scheme. After 8 years, when the gold would have increased by 324%, so you will ask me 32.4 lakh rupees. In fact, not 32.4 lakh rupees. It has increased by that much amount. So 32.4 lakh rupees is the 324% is the increase. So you will ask me for this amount. I am liable to give you this amount. From where will I give you this amount? So there is a very logical issue that I may not end up returning. The sovereign gold bonds that were bought in 2017 are now maturing, and the government is giving a return of 324% on those sovereign gold bonds. This was the reason why the sovereign gold bond scheme was taken back. Because there is no physical gold involved. Where will you pay the people from? Where will you invest that you will get 324% return within 8 years? Is that clear? So that is why this was discontinued. But since it's a sovereign, it's a government, the government is able to pay back because it has our money, which it is paying back to us. But these firms will not have this considerable amount. So at that time when they don't pay it, how will you even catch hold of them? It's not that they have huge amount of money then and they are not paying. Either they will run away with it, they are not regulated, they will not be able to pay it. So at the end of the day, the consumer will be impacted. Is that clear? So that is why SEBI has emphasized on the high risks, unregulated nature, and also because it gets propagated so much, we start to think that it might be regulated. It's an assumption of a common person that it might be regulated. Now the cryptocurrency is getting so prominent, CoinCedex, this app, that app, but it's not as such regulated by a proper regulatory authority. What? And gold monetization scheme. These two are worlds apart, right? So sovereign gold bond, in sovereign gold bond, the thing is, you want to invest in gold. Now India imports a lot of gold. Hundreds of tons of gold is imported every single year. Now because of that, just give me a minute, I'm getting a call from Rupesh. Is there any issue? Yes, Rupesh, any issue? For the weekend batch, they will need around 10. I thought my video got stuck. I'm in current affairs class. 10 lectures, okay? Okay. I thought the streaming got paused. That's why I picked up the call. Yes. All right, guys. So we were understanding the difference between sovereign gold bond and the gold monetization scheme. So sovereign gold bond was a good scheme. In this, what happens? You want to invest money in gold, you want to buy gold, because of which the demand for gold will increase. I, as the government, will have to import more gold, right? So I have to pay more foreign exchange, right? I don't want that. I want to lower my imports. So I tell you, instead of buying gold, invest in sovereign gold bonds. This gold bond is a bond which is pegged to the gold rate. So let's say you buy it 8 years before, wherein let's say the gold rate at that time is around 30,000 rupees. So you invested 30,000 rupees per 10 gram of gold. So the gold is never bought. It's just that it is pegged to the gold rate. Now after 8 years, it has a maturity period of 8 years. Premature withdrawal is allowed after 5 years. So after 8 years, that means right now the gold rate is 1.25 lakh rupees. 1.25 lakh rupees. So I will have to now return you 1.25 lakh rupees. Now the benefit is gold was never included. For you, the benefit is you don't have to worry about buying the gold, physically storing with you, having a security nightmare, and I don't have the issue of importing more gold and using the foreign exchange reserve. You get the benefit of the instrument that is here. But because no gold was involved, that is why it's a burden on the government. Your return here is more than 300%. Now, where will I invest this money to get return higher than that? I can invest in gold, but then if I invest again in physical gold, it defeats the purpose. Okay? That's why it was taken back. Second is gold monetization scheme, a very terrible scheme, so terrible that UPSC asked a question, list down the importance of gold monetization scheme. In this, your jewelry is taken. You are giving your own jewelry, not necessarily the jewelry, you can have gold coins, gold biscuits, you can have jewelry. So you basically monetize this jewelry. This jewelry will be basically melted. It will be melted and converted into gold gold coins or whatever to meet the requirement. Because Indians require gold, instead of importing the gold, our jewelry would be with the government, which they will melt and satisfy the need of the gold. Is that clear? And then again, based on the market price, you will be getting the return of it. The issue here is, since you are melting the jewelry will have making charges of 30% or more if the design is intricate. Intricate means complex design. Complex design will have high making charges. So first of all, the moment I give 10 lakh worth of jewelry, unless and until it goes up to 13 lakh, there is no profit only. So first 30% is simply the making cost. In addition to that, the gold will have emotional attachment. It is the gold that you bought from your first salary, that you have bought from your own money, that is gifted to you, that is hereditary, that has been passed on from generation to generation. So we are emotionally also attached. So we will not be able to part away with this gold and also the making charges, as a result of which there were not many subscribers of this. Okay? So this was the difference between the two. A failure in the sense, yes. See, one issue with this scheme is, when, let's say for example, from tomorrow, yes, it was a failure. From tomorrow, let's say all of us invest in sovereign gold bond only. We don't demand gold. If the demand of gold goes down, the price of gold will anyhow not increase. So I will not get the benefit that I should have got. That is one thing. Second, why it failed is because failed as in not many subscribers here also, because more than 90% of the gold is in the form of jewelry in India. Is that clear? Huge amount of gold in India is in the form of jewelry. So whenever people will tell at house, okay, let's buy gold, it will be a good investment. But they don't want to buy bonds. Our household wants to still buy jewelry only. Is that clear? But if someone would have invested as an investment instrument, it has yielded a lot of profit. Okay? So if you look at why the advisory, so these are the reasons. Digital gold products are being aggressively marketed. I have told you. Many investors, of course, they assume that they are regulated, whereas they are not regulated. Digital gold not classified as a security under SEBI. Of course, that's why it's not regulated. Also not a commodity derivative. That means, see, there is no underlying commodity that is over here. No SEBI oversight. No formal legal protection will be provided if there is an issue. High probability of default. When you want to liquidate, when you want to get your physical gold, they may not provide you the physical gold. When you want a cash settlement, they may not provide you. I have given you a very big example, more than 300% return, so it will become difficult. Digital gold, we know, it is basically the electronic purchase of gold, which is actually not backed by any physical gold. Next is, what have they recommended? So they have recommended the sovereign gold bonds, which are now being taken by the government, so it will not remain an avenue as such. Second is this gold exchange traded funds. These are ETFs. ETFs or electronic gold receipts. Now this is good. Why this is good, electronic gold receipt? Because it has a backing of physical gold, right? In electronic gold receipt, this system is, if you invest 10 lakh rupees in electronic gold receipts, actually 10 lakh worth of gold is bought and stored in the secured vaults, right? So it is not for that. The scheme to reduce the import was the gold monetization scheme and gold bond schemes. Okay? These are not to reduce that. This is what SEBI is recommending, that you can invest over here, so the gold is stored in the vault, it is safe. It is basically buying gold biscuit and keeping it safe and paying some price for the locker of the bank. Is that clear? It is a similar thing that you can do. Or you can have commodity derivatives. We have studied derivatives in the financial market. Derivative is any instrument which has its value pegged to an underlying commodity, which is basically regulated by SEBI. See, tomorrow SEBI can choose to regulate this digital gold. In that case, what will SEBI do then? Then SEBI will have to approve who are the legible vendors, who are the eligible vendors for selling the digital gold. So SEBI tomorrow can say, okay, I am allowing GPay, I am allowing PhonePe, or I am allowing these 4 or 5 different authorities to sell digital gold. So you can buy from them. So when SEBI tomorrow makes it regulated, it will approve certain vendors from which we can buy. That can happen tomorrow. Okay? Next, let's come to this Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act of 2001. Let's understand the gist of this particular act. Protection of plant varieties. See, farmers also innovate. They also come up with different types of crossbreeding, hybrids, and these varieties are also going to yield results. So you have to give some amount of benefits to such plant varieties, some amount of protection to such plant varieties, and some amount of rights to the farmers for such plant varieties, right? So both the things are necessary. Farmers' rights as in that will give them the incentive to keep on trying these different hybrid versions which will lead better results, right? So they should also get some incentives over here. And when you produce certain things, then those kind of plant varieties should also be preserved, okay? So these two things are important. So this particular act is going to celebrate 25 years. That is why it is in news, okay? Let's look at certain facts about it. It is enacted, this particular act was enacted under the aegis of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. So you don't have to remember as such. Try to remember only those bodies or acts which are saying something but is under some other ministry. That's an easy way to remember. There will be just 10-15 such things. Everything else will make logical sense. It establishes a sui generis system. What is sui generis system? A special system, a unique system for the protection of plant. It's not a difficult word. It provides legal recognition. Yes, legal recognition will be given. So if I, let's say, produce a hybrid variety of a seed, then I can get it registered as a particular hybrid variety. When I register it, the production of that, like the intellectual property, will be done by me, or I will be getting the royalty or the benefit. If I allow to someone else to produce, the benefit will come to me because that is my variety which I have produced. Is that clear? Clear? So you get legal recognition. So this is an X1 variety of seed that I have produced. It gets a legal recognition. It gets the protection under this act. Now I can produce these seeds as many as I want and I can circulate it in the market, or I can use a third party who is a seed producer and let them to produce the seeds, the benefits of which can also come to me. And apart from that, no one else can be producing that seed. Okay? Clear? Any doubt? Confusion. There's no confusion. I'll explain that. So let's say there is a plant variety, there is a seed X and there is a seed X1. Now I have made its hybrid by crossbreeding them. When I make this hybrid, let's say the hybrid is X dash. This is the hybrid. Now this hybrid gives more productivity, is drought resistance, right? So this has been developed by me as a farmer only because of my own resources. There's no government support. I am not a conglomerate. I am no one, right? I am just simply a farmer, right? So because I am simply a farmer, I have produced that. What I can do is I can get this seed registered under this act. So then it will become a registered seed X dash whose registration of the property right is mine. That means what? That means this is the seed which I can sell, I can manufacture, I can utilize it for my own production, but I can also manufacture it and present it in the market, which will be a legal selling of the seeds that I have produced, right? And only I will be allowed to sell those seeds. Only I will be allowed to sell those seeds because this is my intellectual property rights. So for the next 20 years, I will be allowed to sell those seeds. Is that clear? Yes, that is the point. Now what happens? You have a seed manufacturing company, and I am a farmer. I know the idea, I know the concept, but I don't have basically a production or marketing. How do I market? Whom do I sell? Or how do I do the publicity? I don't have that expertise. You have that expertise. So you can collaborate with me. You can give me a royalty of 30% of the profit or 40% of the profit or 10% of the revenue, and I will give you the right so that you are the sole seller of that seed who has taken the right from me. Is that clear? Yes. So the breeder's right, Exclusive right to breeders, the ones who have bred. It's the farmer we are talking about. Not necessarily has to be a farmer, but generally the farmer is going to try different things and come up with this. So the farmer becomes the breeder over here. Exclusive rights for production, for selling, for marketing, distributing, import and export protected varieties. Now this protected varieties is what? Whenever such variety comes in, this variety becomes a protected variety under the law. So the protection under the law is provided to this variety. Researchers' rights, free use of any registered variety for experimentation. This is a researcher's right. What is the researcher's right under this experiment? Under this act? Under this act, there will be, let's say, hundreds of such seeds are there. So if you are a researcher, you have the right to use these seeds only for experiment purpose. Right? That is going to further develop it. I developed a seed x1, x dash, someone developed y dash, someone developed z dash, someone developed different x0, y0, z0. So there will be various varieties. There is a provision of providing rights to the researchers to experiment with the different varieties only for the experimental purposes. Okay? Farmers' right, registering the farm developed varieties. So if the farmer developing the farm in the farm, they can also register it. Freedom to save, use, sow, resow, exchange, share or sell farm produce, but not as branded seeds. Okay, so this will not be branded as in, this will be sold by the farmer. It will be sold by the farmers. This is the farmer's right. Implementation authority, yes, this is the implementation authority. It's nothing but the same act's name. Under the same act it has been created, so it is having a statutory status. You can remember probably the headquarters is in Delhi. We already know that it is under the Ministry of Agriculture. Headquarters as such they don't ask, but fair. Headed by a chairperson with 15 members. Registrar General is ex officio member secretary. Ex officio member secretary means? Yes, automatically. Just because the person is a Registrar General, because of that status, the person will be the member secretary of this organization. Okay? Functions of this body will be what? Grant the rights, protect the farmers' interest, protect the particular seed variety, and maintain the national register of plant varieties. How many have been developed? To maintain the details of that, this is electronically maintained. Significance of the app, it will lead to innovation, it will lead to higher production, it will lead to better realization of money for the farmers, it is going to help in development of the agriculture sector. So all these are generic points. Okay? Encourage community conservation, encourage basically innovation by the farmers. Seed sovereignty, this is a good concept. Seed sovereignty means, see, right now India, there are multiple foreign organizations that provides hybrid seeds to India. Organizations like Monsanto which provides hybrid seeds to India. So here, if we ourselves have so many varieties with so much high production, we can have seed sovereignty. That means for seed we will not have to depend on others. That is the concept. See, this concept, you can very interestingly use these kind of concepts or phrases in other answers also. So that India gets energy sovereignty, energy security, energy sovereignty, it's the similar concept. So if we have EVs and EVs are being made electrical vehicles, or electrical energy is what we are using through clean sources, through renewable energy, etc. So it can provide energy sovereignty to India because our dependence on crude oil is going to reduce. Okay? So you can utilize these kind of phrases anywhere. Let's come to the next news. The Gati Shakti Transport Planning and Research Organization, GTPRO. So this is a proposed organization. This is a proposed organization by the government. As I have told you in brief in the beginning, that presently under the Gati Shakti plan. What is the Gati Shakti? Ji? Yes. So basically in India there will be infrastructure development for transportation. Roadways, runways, dedicated freight corridors, inland waterways, everything. So there is a huge need of infrastructure development. So for that need they have also formed a portal. Now on that portal, all these infrastructure projects are going to be tracked, monitored and ensured that they are implemented in the required timeline. Right. Now presently what is happening is, presently there is a delay in the projects. Presently there is a fragmentation in the system. The monitoring is fragmented. Different bodies monitoring different things, different ministries monitoring different projects. There is not a single unit which is monitoring everything as a whole. Monitoring everything as a whole, there needs to be a central authority. Under that you can have chain of commands. But right now, what is the scene? Right now the scene is, you have someone monitoring some project, then another project, then another project, then another project, then another project. So all these people are monitoring different projects. So basically they don't have any connect with each other. This is a planning concept. There's no connect with each other. See, I'll give an example. It can be a huge loss. Why a huge loss? See, you might have seen this metro is there, right? Bengaluru metro is there. Now on top of it the metro goes, right? But before this, you also see that there is something like this structure, right? Over this structure basically the superstructure is resting, right? Now what happens is, between here and here there is also a space for people. Forget that, not too much of detail. The idea is, before, now this particular thing is closed from the top. Before closing this, you have to finish another structure that is here. If there are, so there are two teams. See, there are many teams in fact. One team builds this, one team builds this, one team builds this, one team builds the structure that will be here. Different teams build different things. Now some of the thing is very logical. Logical means, until and unless you have built this, you cannot place it at the top. That is logical. But inside it, here you cannot see it, inside it there are 2-3 structures which have to follow a particular sequence. So what had happened in Hyderabad Metro Rail project is, they have closed the gap over here from where the person can enter and do their work. So one team who was manufacturing, constructing this, they started constructing the everything and they closed the gap that was there. And the other thing, which other team which was behind, once they reached this point, they realized for 1 complete kilometer, the work has already been done, and now our engineers do not have the space to reach out to it. Now what do? You have to break that structure and you have to rebuild that structure again, which is a cost of crores of rupees, and the delay in time is also there. Now the opening of this metro can get delayed by 1 month, right? Revenue is lost, the cost is lost, everything is lost. So that is just a glimpse to make you understand that there is huge amount of requirement of coordination when it comes to different infrastructure projects, and there is a huge amount of cost that is at stake. But presently there is a body of rural infrastructure, rural ministry of rural development, taking care of the rural projects. There is another ministry taking care of their projects. There is a ministry North taking care of this project. So you need someone to sit at top of this, and to coordinate the planning and management of all the projects that are taking place. So when you do that, what will happen is, delays will be less, planning will be better, also time saving will also be there. Also what will happen is, the approval will also be proper. What proper approval? For example, see, there is a very high amount of traffic in Bengaluru. Of course the reason is population, that's the primary reason. The other reason is, this city is not planned and developed. Since the city is not planned and developed, it has developed haphazardly. There is improper connectivity. From here, if I want to go somewhere, there is only one route from where I can go. There are not multiple ways available for me to reach to that place. Because of that, everyone follows the same route, as a result of which there is huge amount of traffic, right? So if I know what is the plan of rural ministry, what is the plan of North, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, what is the plan for some other ministry, so I can give approvals in context, right? Rural ministry wants to develop something, North wants to develop something else. So when I am aware of the different infrastructure development that is planned by different ministries, I can also give my advice and help the planning to be better. Is that clear? Or else tomorrow what will happen is, the infrastructure is developed. Now North wants to develop a highway from there. What do? Should we break that, or should we take the highway from somewhere else? Right? So it helps a lot in planning. To provide that help, they are coming up with this body. For the integrated transport development, they are coming up with this body, which will be one single body that is going to monitor all the infrastructure projects. Okay? So what is GTPRO? Integrated Transport Planning Authority. Integrated Transport Planning Authority. Okay? Tasked with creating medium to long-term transportation roadmaps. Of course, they can create the roadmaps. What should come first? Simply speaking, let's say the connectivity. So you have connected something here, you have connected something here, now this is not connected. What's the use of this? Instead of this, it would be better if you follow this sequence, this, and then maybe last this, because at least this region is completely connected. Having a project here and here is not making much sense. Okay? So that is the kind of planning and connectivity that we are talking about. We don't have to go too much into planning understanding, but yes, that is what GTPRO will be. The functions will be project appraisal, approval of the project, as I have already mentioned. Rural Ministry wants a particular project, North Ministry wants a particular project. Approval will be given by them on certain projects. So they are well placed to give the approval. Okay? It's about the coordination. Monitoring and evaluation, track the project, track the progress, assess the economic and environmental impact, all those things will be done by them. Okay? Anything that you can think of. Data repository, maintain a unified national transport database for planning. So that database will also be maintained by them. Then policy research, by doing the policy research, they can further recommend what development should take place next. Institutional, inspiration, timeline, expected timeline also you can find out. Expected timeline, you generally calculate expected timeline by using the method of pessimistic approach plus optimistic approach plus realistic approach divided by 3. So if I am constructing a roadways, my pessimistic approach, a bridge for example, my pessimistic approach is it will take 5 years, optimistic approach is it takes 1 year, realistic is let's say 3 years. So this is what divided by 3. So this will be approximately 9 divided by 3. So near about in between 2 to 3 years I am going to finish it. There are various ways to calculate the project time. This is one of the ways which are used by planners to estimate how long will the project take. Okay? There are certain, yes, these are the things that I have added. This. So India presently ranks second in the world as far as the network of roads are concerned. We have around 63 lakh kilometers of roads that are there. As far as highways are concerned, highways has grown to 1.46 lakh kilometer. That's a 60% growth over a period of 11 years. 60% growth over a period of 11 years. Okay? This data is from the PIB. FASTag and NTEC. FASTag uses RFID based tolling. What is RFID? Radio frequency, yes, identification. So basically, what is the challenge with RFID? Yes, the range is small. The range is small. That's why the vehicle has to be very close. The range is small, and they have to maintain the line of sight proper. That is what the issue with RFID is. India is now trying to move towards MLFF tolls. What are MLFF tolls? Okay, yes. What is the full form of this? Multi-lane free flowing tolls. Yes, it will be based on that. So what will happen is, right now you have to stop. There is a bar like this, you stop, there is scanning that happens of the RFID tag, right, and the number gets captured, there is balance in your FASTag, now the gate opens, now you can proceed, but still you have to halt. In this MLFF, what will happen is, you don't have to stop. There will be no one, there will be no barricade, nothing, you simply drive through it. right? That is what is meant by multi-lane free flowing tolls which are there, which are present in China and other countries also, they have that. Okay? Yes, it is going to be technology, citizen centric, all that thing. You have the Rajmarg app also, which will be integrated with the GTPRO portal. Rajmarg app, as in it gives you information about the highways, basic information about the highways, that about you can buy the FASTag also from here. You get the information about the highways, open, close, traffic, this, that, everything, and any medical emergency. All the information is given in that app. Okay, clear? Any questions in that? No questions? You're understanding everything? Sure, that is good. Yes. Achha, this one of the project has been implemented, I think, in Gujarat. Ha. So, Choriasi Fee Plaza, Gujarat. In Gujarat, the first system has been launched in Gujarat. Right. So, we'll have to look at the roadmap of the government as to when it will be implemented. There have been some speeches and stuff by Honorable Road Minister Nitin Gadkari, but then he has given very extravagant speeches that by 2015 this will be gone, this will come. So the official notification of planning as such has not come as to by when we can implement, but if it gets implemented, it is a really good thing. It's going to save a lot of time. Okay? Yes. Write down, we don't have to write anything. Good. Country of origin disclosure for e-commerce product. So as I've told you, the e-commerce products that are there, very interesting, this is important. Draft legal metrology package commodities second amendment rules. Metrology, what is metrology? Metrology department. Yes, basically yes, the measurements and stuff. The meteorological department does weather calculation, measurements. Okay? So remember, it is coming under this department, Department of Consumer Affairs. It is coming under the Department of Consumer Affairs. Department of Consumer Affairs is in which ministry? Department of Consumer Affairs. I think in the question we have that. Chalo. In the question we'll answer that probably. Okay? So yes, they are proposing searchable and sortable filters for country of origin in all e-commerce platforms. Okay? So not just the tag that is going to be available, what is going to happen is if you go on Amazon. So if you want to buy a watch, right, we have the filter now. What kind of watch you want? A steel frame or a leather belt, a round dial, a square dial, rectangular dial, color, this. So there will be a filter of country of origin. You want watches from Indian brands, you click on the Indian brands. It should not backfire in the sense that people are searching specifically for foreign brands. Is that clear? So what will happen because of that is sale of foreign brands will increase. But that is not going to happen probably because the awareness, first of all, the Indian brands are actually quite less. The awareness about the Indian brands are not that much. And actually a lot of good brands are coming, especially in the skincare, beauty, all these products. They are good brands that are coming up, which are actually providing you the real thing that is needed, but they are not marketed or branded that well. So we, because of the lack of branding, it's not that we are not knowing it. We will come to know it. But since we don't see it on the television, we don't trust them. We don't trust them. There is no trust on those brands, even though those brands are good. So this is really going to help. Clear? Okay? Some certification also can help them. So what is the objective? Of course, transparency will be there. Also, it will help in promote the Made in India concept, Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local. Okay? So in your answers, 1 or 2 phrases you should use. Don't use it so many, but this is just so that you remember 1 or 2. Atmanirbhar Bharat, Made in India, vocal for local. Now Atmanirbharta is there in everything. Atmanirbharta in pulses, Atmanirbharta in every single thing. Right? What are the amendment process? So what all they will be required to do? Display the country of origin for all the packaged commodities. Provide search filters, example India made products. Provide sorting options, sort by country of origin. Okay? Sort by country of origin. So all Indian products will come first, then if the country of origin, then all USA products, then all Arabian products, then all, let's say, Chinese products. So that is the sorting. Ensure clear visibility before purchase. Yes, this is important. Clear visibility as in that it should not be written in very small or as an asterisk as conditions apply, wherein it is inserted or hidden in a huge amount of text. It should be visible, it should be clear. So possibly the idea would be to have it with the usual filters that you get in the app anyhow. You get the filters, you get the sorting also. So presently the sorting is done based on prices high or low, ratings and popularity, or maybe the recent ones. So in that sorting you will get the sort by country. Sort by country may be alphabetically A to Z or Z to A, or the nearest possible country. Okay? Rules of origin, the criteria to determine the national rules of origin basically are used to determine whether the particular thing is a national product, it's a domestic product, it's an international product, from where it is originating. So why this is important? Of course this is important with respect to the duties, the tariffs, the quotas, the preferential benefits that might be provided to certain products. Okay? So rules of origin is very important. See, imagine there are certain things, so you have to mention that, for example, it is coming from Pakistan, then we can take the action to actually ban it. Or else what happens is it gets influx, it comes from it. Also what they do is Pakistan basically sends its product to Dubai, and from Dubai it comes to India. Now we all think that this product is coming from India, but in the rules of origin what will happen? Where did it originate from? It originated from Pakistan. So what will happen is a lot of products coming from Dubai, when we get to know that their origin is Pakistan, we may actually avoid it, right? So it's then the consumer's choice to do that. But yes, rules of origin is very important. To circumvent, since the products of Pakistan are going to be banned in India, to circumvent that ban, they send it to Dubai, and from Dubai it comes. A lot of masalas, for example, a lot of spices, masalas, the ready-made masalas that you do. Not the masalas, India is also famous for masalas, but you have, let's say, Pakistani biryani, Punjabi this dish, that dish. So there will be thousands of dishes of whose ready-made masalas you get. And India is a very big market for Pakistan's ready-made masalas, which comes through Dubai. One of them, I believe, is the Shan masala. On Instamart, just type Shan masala. The list does not end. So biryani is not just one biryani. Bombay biryani, Parsi biryani, Sindhi biryani, Hyderabadi biryani, Lucknowi biryani. Hundreds of biryani types, and so there are thousands of such types, and it is a huge market in India. Is that clear? So whenever this thing of ban comes, these things comes into news. Okay, there are still things that are coming into India through different routes, so it will help us. Types of rules of origin. First is preferential origin, second is non-preferential origin. Preferential origin means, see, there is a concept of with certain countries we can have preferential trade. So preferential origin means it is originating from the country with which we have preferential trade. It is originating from a country with which we don't have any preferential trade agreement. Is that clear? So that is also, these kind of things is going to help, because if I don't want to buy the Indian product, or the Indian product is not existing, or it's costly, the quality is not good, then which country should I choose? So the country with which we have preferential treatment, with which we don't have preferential treatment, all those things can be. Next is wholly obtained. Wholly obtained means entirely produced in one country only, right? Wholly obtained means, so for example, Amul, entirely produced in India. Okay? In that way. Substantial transformation. Now this substantial transformation means it might, the raw material originated from here, one round of processing done over another country, another round of processing done in another country, but where did it have the substantial improvement in the value? That country, let's say that improvement took place over here. So you get to know that raw material was in Pakistan, substantial improvement in Dubai, and maybe this is China, and then it comes to India. So what is this doing is, this is giving us a good clarity. Okay? But there is an issue in this rule also. The issue is, the source country can control this. How they can control is, let's take for example, this is country X, this is country Y. So they do it generally for taxes. So let's say in the country of origin, the taxation is very high. So what they'll do, I always give the example of these bags that are actually made, the Louis Vuitton bags and stuff. So how do they save taxes? So what they do is, they will basically sell the unassembled bags, right? And they will have a subsidiary over here. So they will sell the unassembled bag at 10,000 rupees, it will go over here. And there is this bag, there is going to be a bag which will have a strap which is different, and there will be a zip that will be there. They will simply assemble the zip, attach the strap, and then sell it for 2 lakh rupees. And this is a safe haven wherein taxation is less. So the profit came to the subsidiary established in this country pays less taxes. But ultimately profit comes to the parent company. Is that clear? Because substantial improvement on the record, on the book, theoretically, on the paper, happened in this country. Right? So that is an issue which may still persist. Exactly. So let's say if this is Italy, so they will write a tag made in Italy. Why? Substantial development is taking place over here, but all they did is just simply attach the zip and the strap, nothing else. Okay? Clear? Yes. Any questions, guys? No questions? Yes. Please try to attempt these questions quickly. It is important. With reference to Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, consider the following. Regulates all activities related to petroleum and natural gas, including crude oil exploration and production. No, crude oil exploration is not over there. So statement 1 is incorrect. Okay? Right? Next is, it has powers of a civil court. Yes, it is a quasi-judicial body. Appeals against PNGRB orders lie with appellate tribunal. Yes, under the Electricity Act. This is also important. Okay? Next, consider the following statements regarding digital gold and SEBI advisory. Digital gold is regulated by SEBI. Wrong. Digital gold involves counterparty risk since investors depend entirely on the issuer for delivery. That is correct. So 1 is wrong, 2 is correct. Sovereign gold bonds eliminate counterparty risk because settlement is guaranteed by the government. That is correct. Correct. It's almost 100% secured. Under the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act 2001, which of the following rights is not available for farmers? Saving and resowing available. Selling farm produce including seed of protected varieties but not as branded seed available. Registering a farmer developed new variety available. Exclusive right to commercial production and export of all new plant varieties. Export of all new plant varieties. No. Registered in India. No, they don't get export of all new varieties. Some researchers can get the exposure to these products for the research purposes only. Right? So this all new varieties is an extreme statement over here. Okay? With reference to Gati Shakti portal, consider the following. Will prepare integrated 5 to 10 year transport plans. Yes, that is there. I think we skipped that. And appraise transport projects above 500 crore rupees. Is modeled on unified transport planning bodies of the US, UK and Germany. Yes, that is correct. And it is going to replace the existing network planning group. That is also correct. Yes, Tejaswani, Ashwin, Shiva, any questions? Yes, guys, any questions here?
So, like India would be a substantial producer for refinery products, crude oil import and we export.
Yes. Of course. Ji?
Department of Consumer Affairs. Which ministry does it come under?
Ha, what is the answer? Huh? No, Ministry of Consumer Affairs. I think Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Just check it. Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Please tell me I am right. नहीं मतलब I'm also confused actually. ठीक है चलिए thank you guys. Yes. What?
Sir, I was thinking of how
नहीं did you check? नहीं because I am genuinely confused.
put that public data. Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Publication.
अच्छा Ministry of Consumer Affairs itself. Yes, that is correct. Yes, बोलिए.
With regards to the sovereign gold scheme,
हाँ.
we talked about how it has become a big burden on the government.
हाँ.
The exchequer is losing out a lot of money, almost 1.5 lakh crore rupees or something that we are paying every year. So, but are we not ignoring the fact that the amounts that we would have saved by not buying gold, because there was a
Correct.
difference of gold,
And exchange rate fluctuation.
right?
Correct.
That being said, is there any proper accounts as to show how much has been the benefit or how much loss has been made?
We can check it, but in generally also you can mention that. It has saved us a lot of foreign exchange. That is definitely there. So if you talk about the advantage, foreign exchange is saved.
Would that be more or less? I mean,
No, it would be less.
very less.
The gold in the last few years have taken off
Last year, because the scheme has been running for a
from
very long time.
8 years.
Right, so that being the case, the amount of demand, there was a demand was still continuing only
Correct.
because the price has gone up. So that means the amount of import would have just, because of the scheme being there, we would have reduced the amount of import, thus
Correct.
saving a lot of money for the exchequer. I was thinking if that point can be integrated in.
Yes, you can integrate it, but I'm not sure if that saving will be higher than the money that is going to be incurred over there. I'm doubtful that the savings, because of the saving of the foreign exchange, I don't think it will be more than the expenditure that will be incurred by the government. But as a point, you can add that point. That was the reason why we brought it. So did it save the foreign exchange? Yes, it did. It reduced our imports. It did. But it will not be considerable. I'll check it. I'll check the figures.
So in gold monetization scheme, do we get any interest on just selling?
No. It is just linked to that price. Like to the price. Okay, don't sell it in gold monetization scheme. It's very good.
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇವರು ಒಂದು ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದು council makes it mandatory that you have to declare. Amazon open ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, Amazon open ಮಾಡು, Amazon ಕಾಫಿ ಮಗ್ ಅಂತ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ನೋಡು, ಕಾಫಿ ಮಗಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಐಟಮ್ ಇದೆ, 100 ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಮೇಡ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. China is going to go into dumping because their prices are going down, their economy is falling down, they are going into a small recession. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರಿರೋದು ಸಾಮಾನೆಲ್ಲ ಡಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Now when they dump it, it's going to be in a lesser price compared to the Indian prices, let's say. Okay, then people are preferring that. So now, which is why you look at what Modi has been saying, buy from local for local, buy made in India. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ, ವಾರ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ.
ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಡಿಜಿಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು.
And mostly it is to promote local for local. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ.
ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದಾಗ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಇದು ಆ ಗತಿಶಕ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗಿನ್ನ
ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್
ಅಷ್ಟೇನಾ?
ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸರ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರೈಲ್ವೇಸ್, ರೋಡು, ಏರ್ವೇಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏರ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್, ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಏನು ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಈ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ,
ಹೈಯರ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ.
ಈ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ.
ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ.
Shakti is already existing. We are also doing a lot of projects under it, but because of delays, leakages and all of those issues, government is coming up with a regulatory body which will supersede the actions of and make it all under one roof.
ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಏನು GTP ಅವರು prepare integrated 5 to 10 year transport plans and appraise transport 5 to 10 year transport plans.
So it's like
appraise ಅಂದ್ರೆ approval.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ರೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತೆ. ಎರಡು ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದು ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಇಂಟರ್ಲಿಂಕೇಜ್.
ಇಂಟರ್ಲಿಂಕ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಹಂಗೆ ಲೀಕೇಜಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡಕ್ಕೆ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್
ಅವ್ರು ಅರ್ಧ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರು, ಇವರು
ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಿಟ್ರು. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ
ಓವರ್ಲ್ಯಾಪ್
to make it much efficient. That is what they are trying to do. And let's say India now needs to grow sports system ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೇಗಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಸೋರ್ಸಿಂಗ್, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೇಂಟೆನೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಕರೆಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಯೂನಿಫೈಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್.
ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಅದು UK US ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ತರ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. These organizations exist which will take care of all of it. We are taking those models and then using it for our
NPC already existence ಇದೆ.
ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದು ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ.
ಅದನ್ನ GDPR ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಬಾ
Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMMSY?
Yes, go ahead.
That's a great choice. The Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMMSY, is the single biggest catalyst mentioned in the article, designed to